in season. And you know, your boy got to head over to Schneider's. It's all the cornfields. But anyways, we're gonna pick up some corn and do a couple of recipes in the in season. Yep, corn are in season. So we're doing a couple corn recipes. It's been a while since we've dropped one of those ultimate recipes in all the Rokatung tongue. So today we have the ultimate Trinbagonian corn pie. Essentially a corn casserole. And I'm going to show you 3 ways we're going to use this corn. So the corn, yo man, sweet corn in season right now in Canada, so I man picked up some. So all I did was I removed the kernels off the sort of husk and the cob there. So we've got 1.5 cups of that corn kernels. We've got 1 cup of corn flour, masa, ground corn, whatever you want to call it, but this is the sort of the white version of it. I've got a carrot, I've got evaporated milk here, that is pimento or seasoning peppers. The aroma, the smell, everything of a good Scotch bonnet pepper without the heat. Thyme, onion, scallion, celery, cheese, and my favorite cheese is an aged cheddar, an egg, garlic, and I'm going to go in with a little dusting of nutmeg. We'll also need some butter, some salt, some black pepper, but this is all going to be combined, and I'll show you how I'm doing it. Yes, different than your mommy's recipe for making corn pie, but again, when you attach the word ultimate, you have to come good or stay home. So we are coming, not good, but great. The typical recipe for making a Trinbagonian corn pie, yes, it's something uniquely Trinbagonian, is cream corn. Listen, cream corn comes in a can and I can't even pronounce some of the ingredients in that. So what I'm going to do is use 1 cup. I'm certainly going to make a mess here. I mean half a cup, sorry. Yep, I knew I was going to make a mess. But anyhow, we need half a cup of that sweet corn kernel in there, which leaves me with the kitchen to clean up now. Good thing. Which leaves me with 1 cup left back there of those kernels. And they're raw, right? What I want to do is to add a little sweetness to it. And I'm going to go in with a tablespoon of buckwheat honey. Any honey will work. Any raw honey will work. What we're going to do is sort of add some of the evaporated milk in there, and that is going to combine to a sort of a quick take on a cream corn. I want to, so with the cornmeal, we're going to get one texture. With this, we're going to get a different texture. And with this one, not only are we going to change the texture a little bit with it, but we're also going to bring out some of the sweetness, the natural sweetness of the corn, along with that buckwheat honey. Well, any honey, like I said, will work, right? Being careful not to make too much of a mess, I'm going to go in with a cup, well, half a cup of that evaporated milk. My mind is somewhere else today. Summer's coming to an end and your boy not in a good mood lately because winter is coming. But anyhow, magic bullet, we're gonna blitz that, bring it all together, and that there is gonna be our sort of a quick take on a cream corn without all the kernels. Yeah, so you see, I've got all of that in there. I'm just gonna do that a bzz, bzz, and we're good to go. 2 tablespoons of butter, medium flame, onion, finely diced, 1 stalk of celery, finely diced, the leaves as well. That leaf, well, in the Caribbean, I know in Trinidad and Tobago especially, we tend to use the leaves and everything, and we treat it like a herb, whereas in North America, it's more about the sort of stems or the stalks. Just going to get the rest of it in there. What I want to do at this point is to also go in with my black pepper. Just going to turn my heat on just a little bit, medium low. I want the sort of leaves from the thyme. I don't want any sort of the sticks in there. I just want the baby leaves. Just pull that back a bit and get some of that lovely thyme flavor in there. We've got the scallion, and again, along with the celery and the onion that we started with, that scallion was cut up into the same sort of size pieces. I just want that to soften up a bit. And here's where I'm going to add my salt, along with that pimento or seasoning pepper, and that's going to bring a lovely flavor. Well, it's all about flavors, your layers and layers of flavor. By the way, I added the salt at this point because that's going to help soften up that celery and the onion for me to exactly where I want it to be. Yeah, garlic. And I know you're watching some of these and you're like, yeah, mommy never put all of those things in there. Again, let's refer back to the title of the video, the ultimate. No disrespect to mommy. This is just Uncle Chris's way of elevating our humble yet tasty corn pie. I have 1 cup of the evaporated milk left, and I'm going to use 1 egg. I'm going to whisk it in here and set that aside. Time for the corn kernels, that sweet corn, to go in there. I'm just going to scrape that down. Give me 1 little, not twos, man, just whole lot twos. Yeah? Move that around, because we want to sort of gently cook the corn, and by cooking it, well, it's going to take the rawness out of it, because most people would be using frozen corn at this point here in their recipes. But again, it's in season, and this is part of my in season series. Corn local to me are in season right now, so I want to really highlight the fact that local ingredients get the same sort of love in Uncle Chris's kitchen. Now, if you're following along in the in season series, you'll see sometimes it's a Caribbean recipe, as in this case, sometimes it's not. That's just the way I cook and I provide for my family. It's been about 3 minutes since I added that corn in there. I just want a tiny bit, freshly grated nutmeg. Grenada, all in the house? Nutmeg, boy. Greens. Anyhow, that's gonna add a lovely spice note to it. So we got herbal, we got spice, we got that cheesy coming. Oh man, the sweetness from the corn, a little bit of honey. If you recall, we made that sort of cream corn or corn milk by pureeing it there in the magic bullet. Just gonna move that around. We want to bring this up back to a boil. But what I want to do, since the temperature dropped here, here's where I'm gonna add the rest of the evaporated milk that I whisked that egg in there. If it's too hot, it would scramble the eggs almost. So what I want to do is just move that around for a bit more texture and sweetness. Grated carrot, and that's a great way to sneak other ingredients into a dish. If you have picky eaters, you know, young children, sometimes they don't want to mess with the carrot. A great way to put it in there. If you wanted to put it before we added the milk, egg / ingredients in here, you can. It will cook it out a little bit. It really didn't matter to me. In goes all of my corn flour or cornmeal in there. Just gonna cook out that just a little bit. We don't want to make the pie in here. So by the way, preheat your oven now 350 degrees. And you want to grease your baking dish, whatever sort of casserole dish that you're using. I'm gonna turn my heat off, and I'm gonna add half of the cheese in there. Give that a good mix. My heat is off, by the way. Just gonna move that around. If I find that it's tightening up just a little too much, what I will do is add a 1/4 cup more of the evaporated milk. So just keep that in mind, yeah? At this point, give it about a couple, maybe about 30 seconds. Then you want to taste it and adjust the salt, because remember, this is going into a baking dish after, so you won't be able to salt it at that point. But be mindful that the cheese that you will put on the top will add a sort of a salty element to it as well too. Greased baking dish, whether you use a casserole pan, it's up to you. I am using my cast iron pan, well, one of my small ones. And all we want to do now is to hit that another loving topping of that, well, your favorite cheese. In my case here, it is that aged cheddar that I like so much. Basically, all that's left to do place it into the oven, 350 degrees, uncovered. In about 25 to 30 minutes, we'll check it, and we'll continue from there. But the point is, you notice how easy it came together. A few steps. That's the oven telling me it's ready. So let's go in. 25 minutes later, here we are. You notice it all came together. It smells, yo man, it smells incredible. What I'm gonna do, and this is up to you, I am going to put it back for a couple more minutes just for it to darken up just a little bit more. I don't know how dark it's showing on camera, but from the 25-minute mark on, now remember this cast iron pan, by the way, if you're using a cast iron pan, remember this, the entire thing gets hot, so you will need, anyhow, sometimes people forget and they want to grab it, but it is not thick. If you are making a thicker corn pie, you want to give it a bit longer, more time. So around the 25-minute mark is when you're going to start taking a look at it. You want to feel that it's firming up and everything else. And did I mention it? The cast iron pan was greased prior to pouring it in there. So it's one of those things you got to remember to grease it with some butter or cooking spray or whatever. I'm going to go back in for about 3 to 5 more minutes and then shut it off. 27 minutes later, and here we are. Beautiful color. The lighting kind of weird in the kitchen at the moment, but what we need is some patience. Allow it to cool completely before, well, about 10-15 minutes anyways. Let that cool, and then you can slice it up however you want. Triangles, sure, by all means. Now remember, if you're using a deeper dish, you will need to cook it a bit longer, maybe 35-40 minutes. Chris here, CaribbeanPop.com, the ultimate corn pie. I'll give it a few minutes, allow it to cool, and at the start of the video, hopefully I remember to carve it up like a best turkey. Where did that come from? But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, you need some stewed meat, some barbecue meat, some stewed fish. Oh my gosh, all those recipes. Stewed pork, stewed chicken, even a curry stew, who knows? The point is, even your oxtail, that beautiful oxtail gravy on was, oh mama, yo, plantain. I'm gone. I get hungry. I'm gone. All you want to do is get your little knifey knife and go around. Remember, it's nice and cool now. So all you can do, and I'll show you how easy this is. See, it's lifting out of there.